Both fronts! Woo! How about that one?
That's our new leaders right there.
Big Stewie!
University of Montevallo, 24-96.
The University of Montevallo wins its third straight title.
What's up, everybody? Welcome into the latest episode of the Rapala We Are Collegiate Bass Podcast. I'm your host, Kyle Curry, today being joined by Emil Wagner, former college angler, fishing the Bassmaster Opens this year. You might have seen the information come out last week or so on social media, across our website as well as we shared it, the AFTCO Bass Boot Camp. AFTCO announced the participant, the recruit that's going to be competing, a part of that series this year. That's going to be Emil. We're going to talk to him about his journey in fishing, getting to this point, and now being supported by AFTCO, being part of what is going to turn into a 9-episode YouTube series, chronicling his whole year upcoming on the Bassmaster Opens. Emil, real quick, let's judge your excitement for this opportunity, and then we'll kind of start the journey of this podcast talking about how you got started in fishing and made it to this moment right now. But real quick, just express your excitement as the season's about to get started and being part of this AFTCO Bass Boot Camp for this upcoming season.
Yeah, man, I'm fired up. I mean, I've been wearing AFTCO my whole friggin' fishing career, whatever you want to call it. So to be able to partner with them was awesome, and I'm just super grateful for the opportunity, and I'm honestly really excited to film all the events and get everything on video and be able to look back at it. That's something I've been wanting to do. I've just kind of put all my time and effort into the fishing part, which, you know, I'm still gonna do, but just gonna have the GoPros rolling the whole time and make something good after. But I'm actually on the way to the first event now down in Florida on Okeechobee, and I'm just ready to get started. I don't like, you know, being around the house. I guide every day at home, but I live for being on the road and going to these tournaments. So I'm really excited.
Man, let's just start at the very beginning. Everybody's kind of got a story, whether it's dad, grandpa, maybe you just figured it out yourself and fishing was never in your family, but kind of start at the early stages of your life. You know, it might not have even been early. You may have been middle school, high school when you kind of got the bug and started to get out and go fishing. Tell us a little bit just kind of how you got introduced to fishing and who might have done that for you, and then we'll work our way up through college and to where we're at now. But let's start with the very beginning. How'd you get an interest in fishing?
So, yeah, kind of like you said that last part, no, but it's not in my family. You know, my dad doesn't fish. You know, I never had a mentor or anything. I've been fishing ever since I could walk pretty much. I think I just expressed interest in it when I was young, and my dad helped me get a rod and reel and whatnot. And kind of the first neighborhood I grew up in, when I was even old enough to be able to, you know, go down to the pond and fish by myself, I would go down there like almost every day. And I mean, I just loved it. It was just fun. Like, I started like anyone catching bluegill. And then I remember catching, you know, these big bass under the dock in our neighborhood using live bluegill. And I do that, you know, obviously fish artificial too. But after that, just kept fishing. And then in middle school, I met the guy I ended up fishing with in high school all 4 years and a little bit in college. His name was William, and we started fishing out of his canoe in middle school every weekend, you know, taking it to different ponds and rivers, and just freaking loved it. Like it you know, I liked it more than anything else I did. At the time, I was also playing tennis, so I played tennis for 8 years, and then in going into high school, figured out tournament fishing was a thing, and I pretty much hung up tennis right there and have been doing it, you know, balls to the wall ever since. It's once I went to my first one, I knew that was it. I mean, I freaking love it. But that's kind of how I got started, and then fished all 4 years of high school as well. Had some really good years in high school. I mean, we learned so much, went to so many different lakes, and then transitioning into college, I went to Ole Miss, and a lot of the bass teams at SEC schools, you know, they kind of go in waves of, like, you know, you'll have a lot of guys who fish and are on the team and care about it, but then they'll graduate, yada, yada. And when I got there, there were some people on the team, but nobody really super committed. So I kind of just laid off the first 2 years and fished around the house and local stuff. And then junior year, really got into the college stuff, you know, had a really good year, actually, almost won team of the year, but friggin' loved it again, got to see a bunch of new water, and then partner ended up transferring. But senior year, you know, fished one more event to get to the national championship again, and it's just it's just been great, man. I love it. And then obviously after college, been doing all this MLF stuff now or up until now. And then this year we're giving Bassmaster a shot, but it's been a fun ride.
That's awesome. Great to hear that story and kind of how things progress and how you get interested. I find it cool whenever we talk to kids and I ask similar questions, trying to figure out, man, how'd you get to where you were? How'd you end up at school? Tell us how everything started.
Right.
And the people that didn't have a mentor per se or someone to kind of introduce them and they just do it by themselves. I find that really interesting. So definitely a cool element to your story that you just kind of got the itch. You figured it out. You've done it on your own and we're here now. And part of being here now is being in this Bass Boot Camp, the AFTCO Bass Boot Camp, of which AFTCO's covering entry fees, full sponsorship for this upcoming season, 9 events on the Bassmaster Opens that you'll be participating in. The main goal in competing in the Bassmaster Opens is to qualify for that elite series. Let's get to this journey here and now. At this opportunity with AFTCO, kind of walk us through, we just heard about your journey to become where you're at today as an angler. Now that we're here, how did this come to be with AFTCO and the Bass Boot Camp? Kind of walk us through what you can.
Yeah, so like I said, after college, I had a pretty good little run with MLF fishing the Toyota Series and BFLs and All-American and all kinds of stuff, and just had a lot of success and really enjoyed it. And, going into this year, I kind of had to pick, you get to a point where you got to think of the long-term goal. And, in my belief, I think the elites aren't going anywhere, and I think it's a really solid platform, and it's going to be here to stay. So my goal transitioned this year to switching over to Bassmaster to try to make the Elite Series. And I saw AFTCO was doing their Bass Boot Camp, so I spent a day, filming and going back and pulling footage and pictures of me wearing AFTCO from way back in high school. And like I said, I've always loved the brand. And, I laced all that together and just made as good of a video as I could and submitted it to their boot camp application and got an email, a month or so later that I'd won it. And like I said earlier, I couldn't be more thankful, but it's going to be awesome. I mean, I love their products, and going to be sweet to film it. But they do a lot for the sport, and I'm just grateful. I would have been representing the brand either way. So.
Yeah, talk a little bit about what that support's going to mean, and then we'll talk about what it is that you're going to have to do once you answer this question. But to have that, you hear everybody getting started, especially young anglers like yourself, trying to get your foot in the door in the industry, trying to make a name for yourself, trying to be able to get enough clout and support to be able to continue this for a couple years where it's not something that maybe you've got a little bit of money saved, and at the end of the year, man, that was a good shot. I got to move on and get a desk job. But being able to keep going, have the support, what AFTCO's going to put behind it to help you get out there and compete and be at all 9 of these tournaments. Kind of give me a little bit of your thoughts and an understanding of how significant that is to be able to pursue your career and the support that AFTCO provides you through this.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's any secret that bass fishing and tournament fishing specifically is insanely expensive, and it's not always the most financially rewarding sport. But that's also not why I got into it. I mean, I just do it because I love the tournament fish, and, the money and the success has come, I guess, in turn. But you're never guaranteed anything any of the years. You're not guaranteed to make $1, even if you have a great year, the year before. So going into the Opens, I mean, it's not the most profitable league by any means, and it's very expensive. And especially this year, I mean, it's about an average of a 10-hour drive per tournament. So getting that, the entry fees are $18,000, and getting that covered is just a huge financial relief, because between that and some other, sponsor stuff I gathered, now if I get a check at a tournament, I'm actually making money, and that's not just going towards breaking even on the event. So it's like I said, it's just super nice, and takes some weight off your shoulders before the year starts financially.
We're talking with Emil Wagner, the AFTCO Bass Boot Camp recruit for this upcoming season out on the Bassmaster Opens, getting all 9 entry fees paid for, as he was just talking about right there. It's going to turn into a 9-episode YouTube series over on the AFTCO YouTube channel. So be sure to go over there, subscribe, keep an eye out for when that content starts to come out soon, as Emil's currently on the way to his first tournament right now, of which some of that content I'm sure will be shared inside this Bass Boot Camp. Let's talk more about what that is actually going to entail. So you've talked some about kind of audition process and sending in your tape to be able to be participating and involved with this. So a lot of digital media is what's going to be tied back to it, chronicling your journey, whether that be travel, out on the water, throughout the tournaments, and just kind of building the story over 9 events throughout the year, of which is going to encompass about 8 to 10 months on that schedule. It's going to be awesome to be able to see, kind of walk us through what you're going to do from leaving the house to getting back to the house, essentially, for each tournament, and what this series will look like as it comes together over those 9 events.
Right. So the whole filming thing, it's not new to me, but like I said, I haven't done a bunch of it the last 2 years, especially not like on that personal of a level, like taking you through the whole tournament or anything. So my goal is going to be to pretty much just document the whole process, like you said, from driving to the tournament to practice to screwing around at the house with the guys you're staying with, whatever. And I'm going to try to make it, kind of an informal, like blog style format if I can. That's what I'm thinking as of now, but going to show the ups, the downs. I mean, I'm sure we'll have both throughout the year, and just going to record all of it. I mean, hopefully the cameras stay on the whole tournament and don't shut down or freeze or overheat before a big fish happens. But just keeping the cameras rolling and trying to capture the whole event from getting there to practice to hanging out to the tournament. And I'm sure I'll learn a lot throughout the year too. Like I said, this is my first time really documenting the whole tournament like that, with the before and the after and everything. So I'm excited.
Yeah, I don't want to burst your bubble, but we do a lot of media here, and even as experienced as we are as a crew, something's going to happen with an edit. Something, you're going to have software,
I'm
computer. Yeah, it happens. The battery's going to die, and you think you charge it all night. But hey, that's part of the journey. It's part of the learning experience of what you're going to get to do that both on and off the water, which is really cool with this series. Something I want to ask you now is, you're a couple years removed from college, as we are here with the Rapala We Are Collegiate Bass Podcast, the Association of Collegiate Anglers operating the Bass Pro Shops Collegiate Bass Fishing Series. We deal with the college anglers a lot. We're here to help them. We're here to support them, offer programs, and to see them grow inside of that arena. So I want to ask this. Yourself now being in the position that you're in, had a few years out on your own following college, what is something that you've learned, maybe some advice that you can give to these guys? As I think a lot of them go out and compete, right? And in college, you have help, whether that be coaches, advisors. Some of them are on their own, kind of figuring out at clubs like yourself. But a lot of stuff is kind of provided for. Now that you're out on your own, you've got to figure out how to promote these sponsors. And it's not just about fishing. That's kind of what I'm getting at here, right? The results and success on the water lead to a lot of other opportunities and doors opening. But being able to do a series like you're about to do, promote AFTCO, be out on the water, show that presence in a digital media, that's a really big element to being successful at that next level after college. Kind of reiterate that in your own words to the college anglers that might be listening, expressing the importance of the digital media promotion, and it's not solely about hooking a fish and getting in the live well.
Right. So, I think there's a couple different ways you can attack being successful in the tournament fishing industry, if that's what we're talking about specifically. And, the last 2 years, I kind of took, and this will tie into the media, but I kind of took the approach of, I'm going to work as hard as I humanly possibly can at the tournaments themselves, and hopefully have enough success to where I can pull some attraction through just tournament results. I was lucky that I had, about as good of a 2 years as I could have had. But looking back on it, if I could have tied media in with that, I think it just would have amplified the sponsorship success and everything else. Because what I've come to learn a lot now, being with like Berkeley and Fenwick and Pure Fishing as well, is content's a huge deal. And, even if not, necessarily like YouTuber entertainment level content, but just getting footage of you catching fish with baits, not just some picture after a trip of, a bait in a fish's mouth where people don't know you actually caught it on it. And, just getting good content, like good organic content, and pumping that stuff out, a big deal for sponsors. And then, growing your social media and stuff. It's part of the sport now. And I think successful tournaments for me is going to be the backbone of everything still. You want to be able to have a good enough platform to where if you have a bad year, you're still okay, because you still provide a bunch of value. in content and viewership and everything else, but you still want to you want to balance it. You want to balance your time between, I think, focusing on content, but then also not letting that take away from your tournament success. Because at the end of the day, if you look at Dustin Connell or Jacob Wheeler or Brandon Polinick or any of those guys, they all have really successful social medias, but the backbone of all that is their tournament success. If they didn't have that, I don't believe they'd have the rest of it. So I think it's all about meshing both of those as perfectly as you can.
Yeah, it's really funny that you say that because I log all the footage that comes in from our tournaments, and these are team tournaments. So you've got two anglers in the boat, and you'll see two different things, and it's both opposite ends of the spectrum. Of which I think what you're explaining is you have to find that good middle zone. Is the one angler is completely disinterested in the camera. The promotion and the side of that doesn't interest him. One thing's on their mind: I'm going to go catch fish, not worried about the media. The other angler is in the boat. They're in the back of the boat. They're talking to the camera guy, and they don't stop talking all day. You see them miss several fish. Their buddy gets mad at them because they're not paying attention to the fishing, and they're playing into the camera. So, like you said, a good medium, paying attention to both. Don't let one intercept the other, and find that, and you will have success. Like you mentioned, the guys at the professional level that have really turned it into a big platform to be able to promote the companies that they're working with. One other thing before we kind of drift away
100%.
from, yeah, for sure, man, I don't want to drift as we kind of get away from the college here in just a second. Last question about that is you've made this move up. You kind of talked about your progression from growing as a young angler, getting to middle school, getting to high school, getting to college. Anything you learned along the way, just in general, advice, or maybe that you can look back on now saying the fact that I participated in college has me ready for this moment where I'm at now?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing in college, having sponsors and getting that stuff in college, that's great. And I'm not saying don't focus on it, but my personal belief is when you're in high school and college, you just need to focus on becoming as good of an angler as you can, if that's your legitimate goal. And, obviously you want to make sure you get your degree and everything, because if we're being honest, professional fishing isn't going to work out for the vast majority, because that's just not how the sport works. And, if you want to attack that, I think, like I said, in high school and college, get through school and do all that, but put as much time and effort into just going to new water and learning, and not getting distracted by everything else. And I need to get this much money from sponsors, or I need this much exposure. Just go get good at fishing and figure out what you're good at. And then by the time you're done with college, you can use all that experience you've gained and tie it into whatever league you want to fish, or if you just want to work in the outdoor industry. Or there's so many ways to make a living in the outdoor industry now. It's not cut and dry. There's a lot of different revenue streams. I mean, there's podcasting, social media, affiliate marketing, tournaments themselves. There's TV shows. There's all kinds of stuff. So you just got to figure out where you fit into that, and just take advantage of it as much as you can. But really, college is just huge in terms of gaining knowledge before you hop into the opens, or the MLF stuff, whatever it is you want to do. So just go to as many of those tournaments as you can, and don't be afraid to get your butt kicked going somewhere you've never been.
Good advice there. Definitely something for these anglers to take in, digest, and kind of ponder as they get ready. Some of these anglers are seniors getting ready to graduate, and others are freshmen that maybe have no clue what they want to do. So any advice on into the future serves them well. A few more questions here before we get ready to wrap this up. Let's talk real quick just about AFTCO gear in general. Tell me a little bit about what you like. Maybe it's through different seasons throughout the year: sun protection, cold weather, rain, obviously any gear that you might use to transport stuff from the truck to the boat to the dock, you name it. Kind of what you're looking forward to, excited about showcasing in the lineup of AFTCO products this season.
Yeah, man. So I'll just kind of lay out some of my personal favorites, and I might not get the specific names of them all perfectly right, but in the summer all the way through the fall and winter, I mean really year round, I think my favorite thing right now is the honcho pants. They're freaking awesome. Like I said, I've been using this stuff forever, without a sponsorship or anything, but the honcho pants are friggin' legit. They're breathable. They fit well. They're like slightly stretchy. I mean, it's just the perfect fishing pants, and I even wear them out, going to dinner or whatever. Those are like some of my favorites. And then like the original fishing shorts, I wear those in the summer, and you you can hop in the lake in them and then, get right back out and go fish and then go do whatever after. So those are two of my favorites. And then I have a bunch of their T-shirts. I mean, they make great T-shirts. There's nothing too crazy there. But then as far as the bibs go, the Barricade bibs are legit. The Barricade bibs and jacket, and those. And then they're actually releasing some friggin' awesome deck boots right now. I've got on order. Those I'm really looking forward to wearing. But those, and they make an F1 and an F2 mid layer in the winter. Like before, instead of having to put 30 hoodies on or something, you can put that F1 layer on, which is like a little tighter fit, keeps you warm. And then they make like a second layer, and it's kind of like a system. And then after that, you don't have to put a million, heavy jackets on, and you stay warm. So those are some of my favorites. Oh, yeah. And of course, I mean, everybody's got the Reaper hoodie. I mean, I left that one out. That's probably number one. The Reaper's freaking awesome. You can keep your hat on running down the lake and wrap it around your head with that little deal they have around the neck. And it's a super warm hoodie. People don't realize that. Like, if you put it on a 70-degree day, you're hot. So you can wear it in the winter without, again, having to put a bunch of layers on under it. And yeah, those are sweet.
Yeah, definitely. It's funny you mentioned taking stuff, not even just on the water or around town. I think from house to office and coming in on a daily basis, my hoodie's in the passenger seat of the car, or I'm wearing it, depending on what the weather setup is. So don't leave home without it there sometimes. For this season coming up, getting out there and competing, let's talk about on the water and the tournaments. What are you hoping to achieve? 9 events. Obviously, the end goal for everybody that's going out there is to be able to qualify for the Elite Series, likely the response that we're going to hear from you in just a moment. But kind of tell us a little bit going into the year, just getting it started. What is that goal? What are you wanting to achieve over the course of this season? And when it's all done, what is that goal for us?
I mean, obviously, like you just said, everyone's goal fishing all 9 is making the Elite Series. But I guess goals within that goal are, I fish the Toyotas, and those are more 3 tournaments per division, and you can fish multiple divisions. And this is a little different because it's a long-term goal. But I think if I were to take my 9 or 7 Toyotas from last year and maybe throw in 2 BFLs, I would have qualified for the same kind of a thing. So I think my goal is going to be to take, and it might not be easy to do, but it's to take each tournament and focus on just that tournament, and not like, I think a lot of people get stuck in, I need a top 40. And if you shoot for a 40th, you're probably going to get 80th. So I'm going to try to do what I did last year and just try to win every event, even though that's not going to happen. Just try to catch as many fish as I can in every event and not think about the points race all year. Because, I mean, there's so many shakeups. You saw last year, Tyler Williams had a rough start and then ended up making it back, at the end of the year when you might not have expected it with a bunch of top 10s. And then Milliken had a super hot start and then kind of fell off, and everyone, thought he was out and then came back at the end. So you can't get too hung up in the points, I don't think. And, I don't think many people make it their first try, and this is my first go. So, I mean, that's the goal, but I'm just going to take each tournament one at a time and try to avoid having any bombs. Because I think that's, you can't have, if you have a finish in the hundreds, you got to really back it up with some good ones. So, try to avoid that and just take each tournament as it comes. I'm just focused on this first one on Okeechobee right now, and then we'll worry about the next one once we're done weighing in and on the way home.
Last question. So we just asked you about what you wanted to achieve on the water as it pertains to the AFTCO Bass Boot Camp from a viewer standpoint. As we watch and we get to see these as they come out on the AFTCO YouTube channel, tell me a little bit about kind of double part here, what you would like the viewer to maybe take away from the series about yourself as well as AFTCO as a brand.
Yeah, I mean, just, take away from it that I'm going to show the reality of everything on the road. And, just if that's something you want to do, maybe watch it and just gain, knowledge of what it's going to be like from someone who's pretty fresh out of college like myself. And, as far as AFTCO goes, I think most of us are pretty familiar with how good the products are. So, if y'all watch the YouTube series, I'd really appreciate it if y'all supported AFTCO and maybe left a note that the YouTube series helped maybe point you towards some of the products or whatever. And, you know, and also if you guys watch in the first tournament or the second tournament and there's something you think I could do better or something you think I didn't touch on enough or just anything like that, I'd love to hear it. Because like I said, a lot of this is new to me as well. So I would appreciate any feedback.
You bet, man. We'll be watching. We'll be paying attention, checking the leaderboard, and watching that YouTube series as it comes out. That's our discussion with Emil Wagner today. Bassmaster Opens angler, getting out on the road right now, getting ready for that first tournament. Going to be participating in that AFTCO Bass Boot Camp digital series that will be on the AFTCO YouTube channel as we discussed. Man, thanks for talking to us today. Safe travels here on the rest of your trip, and best of luck at that first tournament.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you having me on. And anyone listening that's in college, hope y'all go learn a bunch and catch them up at your next tournaments. And thanks for listening.
Welcome to Minnow King. How can I help you?
Everything looks good. I'm friggin' starving, man. Been spawning all morning.
Ugh, TMI, bro. What do you want?
I'll take a Crush City freeloader and gizzard shad.
Anything to drink.
Water.
Pull ahead, please. Welcome to Minnow King.
We're gonna have what he's had. Yeah, throw me in a Ned BLT too.
Pull ahead, please.
Calm down. Quit feeding him so much.
Hey, man, I'm trying to, man. If you
If you overfeed him, he's gonna hide under a log.